Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Getting With the Program, talking about episode 11 of season 2 of RWBY, No Breaks. No Breaks! I am, of course, your ever-friendly Pokeprof, joined once again by Kitty Kross.
Hello.
And Ashen Sky.
Hey, y'all.
So, this episode, we are pretty much picking up exactly where we left off, where RWBY is still captured by Torchwick, and the rest of the gang are coming to save her. And save her they do, because apparently, Ublek, sorry.
Ublek.
It's gonna give me a while to get his name right, I'm sorry. Ublek's weapon, aka his thermos, can turn into this almost like bazooka-like thing, and is more than enough to take care of a bunch of the White Fang. And, of course, seeing himself completely outnumbered, despite doing this little get-over-here trick with RWBY earlier on in the same episode, Torchwick decides to basically take the better part of valor and skedaddle, along with a bunch of different robots they've stolen, and who knows what in terms of, like, just cargo and resources. Which, for Ublek, it seems a little odd for him, though, considering the fact that, as far as he knows, the tunnels just end. There is no way out. So it's like, he doesn't understand why they're heading straight for, you know, the city otherwise, because they can't get out. But then the rest of the episode is pretty much one giant fight scene after another, with all these different characters going against each other. It's like one of the major things that is actually later proven to why Torchwick is doing what he's doing is that he's actually planted bombs in pretty much every car that's not necessary for the train, and is having them blow up as they go along. They're unhooking the train cars, and it's literally exploding like halfway through the tunnels. And it's only after we see...
Intentionally breaking holes.
Yeah, it's only after we see, like, the third or fourth car like this blow up that we see Grimm start raining down, and it all makes sense to Ublek, to where it's like, oh crap, they're basically encouraging all the Grimm to come in and follow the train cars all the way to the city, and they have to try and stop it best they can, because a bunch of Grimm where civilians are, not the best idea, huh? Then we get to see a lot of the characters just do weird things, I'll be entirely honest. So, immediately the thing that kind of... It literally made me pause the episode as we were watching it. Was when they actually have the little doggo, the little puppers, Weiss.
Zwei.
Zwei. Literally go and do a combo move with Ublek.
Basically, Ublek, because he's got like a flame or something at the end of his weapon, he basically smacks Zwei like a baseball bat, like it's a baseball bat, and sends him flying. And you've got this fireball pupper go zooming down the tunnel to crash in and destroy a freaking mech.
Yeah, like I said, for me, I actually said this when I paused it, was... It felt like something out of a video game. It felt like a super move that the characters.
It's Angelo from Final Fantasy VIII.
You know, you're not wrong, but it just felt weird because this show, for the most part, has otherwise taken itself, I want to say, fairly seriously when it came to the fight scenes, and yet that was really off the wall for this show, in my opinion. Just this whole, you know, smacking a puppy and coating him in fire and letting him literally cannonball himself into a mech. That was a little out there, I think, for the show. You guys might disagree, I don't know.
They're going to throw the occasional oddball, silly-ass moment in there for fun.
I can understand doing something for fun, but it also felt like, to me, almost kind of like they were just wanting to break things just a little. I don't know.
Well, keep in mind, Ublek's a goofy character to begin with, so why not give him a goofy move?
I can understand that. I don't know. It's like this particular scene, and then a later scene we'll cover in a moment, is like for me, it kind of broke the tension and broke the like seriousness of the situation, just because it's like, wait, what? Why? So the scene I'm talking about is as Ruby is going and trying to actually stop the train. She's running as fast as she can to the front. You know, Oobleck and Zwei stay behind to fight off a bunch of Red Fang, and then all the other girls are in the cars trying to do their own jobs, and they're all fighting off against different people. We have Yang, who goes up against Neapolitan, not the Matrix character. And I have to make that clear. I really do sometimes, because people will call me out otherwise, I feel. But the fight between them is probably the most one-sided fight of the entire group. Is because it's clear that just Neo trounces Yang. It literally, no matter what Yang can do, Neo is either capable of blocking, dodging, or just being able to toss Yang around to where Yang can't do anything. So out of all the fights, that's, like the worst matchup for them. Then we have Weiss go up against a nameless White Fang member, who the only really interesting thing about him is that he is a big guy, and he has a freaking
huge chainsaw.
Yeah, he has a chainsaw. And though for most of the fight, we have Weiss actually being able to do pretty good against him. In the end, it ends up with him getting literally he does a combo breaker out of Killer Instinct, because she's bouncing around. She's doing the maximum spider from that Spider-Man has from Marvel vs. Capcom, where she literally bounces around the screen, and then in the middle of that, he grabs a hold of her face, slams her down onto the ground, tosses her up in the air, and then is swinging his chainsaw around on her. Now, in any other series or any other realistic series, Weiss is dead. She is flat out dead. She's gonna get cut in half by that thing. And yet, in the next scene, when we see Weiss again, it looks like almost she got kicked out and knocked down into the other car with no harm done to her whatsoever. Now, that said, I just realized there's a reason for how she survives. Her aura.
I mean, I call the whole fight cheap. He freaking pulled that little grab out of his ass.
Yeah, well, but it's I just realized, for me, even without the whole grab, because I will agree the grab was, that was bullshit. Just him doing that. But it's I just realized my whole rant, my whole complaint about Weiss surviving a freaking chainsaw to the gut, it's
because of aura.
It's the aura, yeah. Because it's we've seen other characters, we've seen the aura heal Jaune in an earlier episode. And I'm guessing that's to also explain how other characters are capable of taking swords and gunfire and whatnot to the face. Mm-hmm. So chainsaw to the abdomen. Okay, I'll give the series that, because I honestly really felt that was a murder for the tension. It's how is Weiss still alive? Even if she's just unconscious, how is she still alive? She took a chainsaw to the gut. It's oh. That's right, aura's a thing. Oh, well. Now that I'm done making a fool of myself, the final fight, and honestly the best one by far in my opinion, was Blake versus Torchwick. Because not only did it felt like a fairly fair fight between the two, but I think the most interesting thing is the fact that Weiss, earlier on in the episode, actually gave Blake one of her dust cartridges. And apparently, the dust cartridges work very well with the character's semblance.
Well, to be fair, she gave her an entire clip that fit her gun.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if Weiss has done it before, where it's I don't know Weiss's semblance well enough to say, because they haven't really gone into fine detail what her semblance really is or does, other than it's the little runes that she'll make. So I don't know how much that really interacts with her, with the dust, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas with Blake, on the other hand, we get to see immediately how it works with her semblance, because her semblance is that whole I'm leaving a little clone behind. Well, with
She just has like an after image ability.
yeah, and with
Kagi no Bushin.
oh god, no. But with the dust added in, she's basically able to give her little after images elemental effects, to where we see her drop down a fire version of an after image that blows up. We get a stone version, which acts like a full-on shield. An ice version that is able to freeze Torchwick's weapon in place so she's able to get another attack. That is really freaking cool. It's like, this is, I think, the first real showing that the entire show has given us of a character actually going and using dust and mix with their powers to produce interesting and unique effects. You know, it's like, because we haven't really seen RWBY or Yang or any of the other characters really use dust. And, or if they are using dust, we're not given an explanation on how it's different from their regular powers. Which they might do in the future, or it might just be a, you kind of have to learn as the show goes along kind of thing, which for me is a little iffy here or there. I always like it when a show tries to, even if it's going is like, oh, this is because this fantasy thing is what makes it happen. I like giving an explanation of it. That's why I like Blake's use of the dust so well, because we know the dust is able to give elemental powers of some shape, way, or form. And to see Blake use it after we've known her semblance, her power, for X amount of time already, to see it basically get upgraded because she's starting to use dust, it's like, that is really cool. And I want to see more of that.
Yeah. But getting back to the remainder of the episode, once they all actually get out of the cars and see that they're about to crash, Weiss places them all in a protective thing of ice. But once they actually crash, they realize the crash has landed them smack dab in the middle of Vale.
Mm-hmm. And then the Grimm appear and start attacking everyone, and that's how the episode ends, with kind of like they had like a stun grenade kind of thing like in their ears, where it's like all you hear is like this little sound effect for a while until it finally fades away with, you know, them waking up. Though that said, we did miss one thing before the end of that, is the fact that, because as I said, Yang is completely overpowered by Neo, to where she's actually defeated. Yang is unconscious. She's
outclassed.
Yeah, she's outclassed, outfought. She is unconscious when we actually cut back to Yang versus Neo. And she would have died, because Neo literally goes and pulls out like a sword out of her, like a little umbrella, literally hangs it over her, is about to stab down, and would have killed her if it wasn't for a mysterious new character appearing out of nowhere to save Yang. All that we know is the fact that she is wearing this character who looks feminine to me. I could be wrong, but it looks feminine to me, and is wearing this Grimm style mask to where we can't see their face. I'm calling it right now, and we'll see just how accurate I am, you know, couple seasons, episodes, so whatnot down the line. I'm calling it right now. I think that's Yang's mom. I don't know if you know or anything or not, hun, if you could tell us whether or not, but I'll also say don't.
I'm not saying anything.
But I think that's Yang's mom. What do you think, Sky?
I can't say anything anyway.
Oh, do you actually know?
Yes, I do.
Oh, because you've been watching frickin' Yang Chibi, huh?
No, it actually hasn't been in the chibi.
Oh, really? Oh, so it's probably
The
just
show's been out long enough that I have absorbed some information by osmosis.
Ah, okay. Well, I'm going into this mostly blind. I know a few things, but not enough. For example, I was surprised about frickin' Blake being a Faunus, so there's that.
That pretty much covers it for this episode.
Pretty much. Honestly, I'll be entirely honest. It's like, for me, I'm a little weirded out still by some of the fight scene. Some of them, like the one with Torchwick and Blake and the one with Neo and Yang, those were really, 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 really good. But then you got weird stuff like frickin' Oobleck doing a fastball special with the little puppers. It's, Edge, I'm sorry. It honestly kind of did break the immersion for me just a little bit. I'm not saying it's bad. It's like, it was a cool little thing, but it's kind of like, how did the characters know that was how things were going to work? How did they know it's literally kind of a just shut up, don't think about it kind of moment. But it drives me insane. Ugh. I don't know. I think it's just a moment I'm just going to have to try to ignore. I don't know.
Oh, well.
It drives me nuts. Anyway, anything else you guys want to add before we call it?
Nope.
Nope, nothing comes to mind.
All right, then, with all that said, folks, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next episode. And until then, stay frosty.
Air.
Frosty.